Now that we have Daniela here, I don't want to miss this subject because I think it's important to speak this while we have women, just so that they don't come to us and be like, yeah, of course, Paul and Kiko, they would say that, they would say that. But what do you think about the gender pay gap or alleged pay gap? Do you think that it exists?
I think that women are more likely to not negotiate or to settle for the first offer, so then they end up getting paid less. I just think that's what happened. I mean, I don't know. I think that the pay gap has been debunked of sometimes, but there's people that say, me and my coworker were in the same level, but he's getting paid $10,000 more. And in my head, I'm not like, oh, I'm sorry for you. In my head, I'm like, you dumb girl. I bet if you'd have asked for $10,000 more, they would have given it to you. Like, you just didn't ask for it. And I think that's just a problem. Like, I recently accepted a new position, and they try to give me less, and I'm like, no, I want this more. And they're like, okay. And I was like, well, okay. But I could have easily been like, oh, no, okay, thank you for the job. No, bro, ask for the money and they'll be giving it to you. And I think, just like we were talking about, race, I think sex has nothing to do with it, bro. Like, I'm going to try to get the less rate from a man and a woman and white or black or Hispanic, whatever. I'm going to try to pay you the least amount of money so I can have more money in my pocket.
We spoke this on the
this
first podcast that we did together when with Steve, where we said, like, I think I've experienced with all my employers that they are trying to equally fuck all of us at the same extent.
Yeah.
Like, I think that I've had jobs where I've been a bitch and they were like, we're going to give you this. And I'm like, for reals? And then, like, that's it. And they're like, all right, we got this kid that's overqualified. We're giving him shit money. Get the fuck out of here.
He's a sucker.
They don't care if I'm a guy or a girl. No, he's a fucking idiot. That's what he is.
No.
And, like, it's the same thing.
Right.
And you could have fierce women that that might be better at like for example, my girlfriend at the moment, she works at a financial place where she calls people and pretty much is asking them every day, like, oh, you owe this, you need to pay and shit, right? And they pretty much hire only women for that job, right? So like, I think that it is important to note that we should be equal in the name of the law. But we should definitely know our differences, because those are the things that make us unique and beautiful, right? Like the job that my girl does,
right?
I couldn't do that, but she's able to, like, finagle the information without sounding like, like a super mean asshole. And then get people to pay. So, and that this happens with everything. You mentioned a specific reason that has to do with the pay gap, which has to do with, like, not being able to debate and negotiate a better rate. Now, there's another thing too, is that some women decide to be mothers, and even though there is what we could call, like, the biological lottery, this goes both ways. When you're a woman, yes, you have the burden of kids if you want to have kids, and when you're a man, you have the burden of doing the most dangerous shit and probably living 10, 15 years less. And instead of complaining about it, you just gotta know that is the reality. Okay, now how do we go from this hand that I'm dealt? Because there's women that go into being lawyers. This is a very common example. They're lawyers. They get to, like, 30, right? Like our age. And then the firm is like, look, we want to make you a partner. You're a fucking bad lawyer. Like, you fuck shit up. And then she's like,
that means a lot of work.
I work 80 hours a week and this. And then she's like, but I'm already making this amount of money with this. I can be happy, have my kids. And it's like,
I'm good.
Is it bad if you choose that? Fuck, I might choose that if I had the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, all I'm saying is, when people talk about, like, oh, all CEOs are men, all this, well, it's because the people that are willing to give life up to have that, because you will not have any relationship with anybody you love, then they do that. And most that people that do that are men. But those are extreme men. I wouldn't do that. I don't want that. I want to make fucking art and bullshit and then go to sleep and party and, hopefully just have fun. I'm not this person that wants to work 80 hours a week. But it happens to be that the extreme ones are mostly men. But if you're a woman and you want to do it, You can do it. My girl is a civil engineer, and she was like one of the only ones out of that graduated that was a girl. Nobody ever told her you can't be an engineer. No, it's just that a lot of women prefer to do dentist, for example. So I think the freedom of you being able to be whatever the fuck you want is what we should make sure that we provide. But we shouldn't have quotas like we need to have 50% here, 50% here, because then...
No, man. Like, we shouldn't have issues in school because most teachers are women. Men can do it too, they just don't want to. But we don't have to fucking force the school, no, you have to have 50%. And then maybe pay or select teachers that are less qualified just because they have to be a man. Like, bro, if there's no good man, they're not qualified. This is again us, I feel, sometimes making problems where there are no problems. This is not a problem because you're a woman. This is a problem because you're not qualified. Or, you're not getting paid this much because you only put 40 hours in and as soon as the clock hits, you go home. But, Andrew over here, he stays 2 hours more every day. So
and he when we look at the cases he resolves them quicker. He gets shit done. I mean, you could have the same position as, like, I have the same position as many people, and I'm valued a lot more because of the extra shit that I do.
Exactly.
So that argument already falls behind. But I'll tell you something. If you feel that you're in a place where you're not being paid what you want, ask for more. And if that's not an option, start looking for a better job. Because if you have the skill set, the market is so fierce that they don't give a fuck if you're green or fucking blue. Oh, maybe green, like, maybe that's a sickness. But, like the typical, I don't see color or whatever. Like, they don't give a fuck who you are as long as you can get the shit done quicker, better, faster, whatever. So I think that's my say on that. So would you say that inequality, opportunity, do you see yourself as a woman sort of the same as everybody else, or do you think there is a gap in opportunity?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think the opportunity to do whatever I want is there. The opportunity, if I wanted to go be a police officer, I can go do that. If I want to go to the military, I can do that. If I want to go to business school, anything, I can do whatever I want. But I choose not to because that kind of stuff is just not what I want. Not what
Did you watch recently this series on Netflix called The Queen's Gambit? You watched it too, Paul? It. Would you agree with me, and this is the way I felt when I saw it, I was like, what a refreshing take on a badass bitch owning a bunch of guys where I didn't feel they were pushing a feminist agenda.
You felt like they weren't pushing a feminist agenda? Oh, wow. So there's been a lot of controversy over that show. I will agree. Listen, man, I love, watching a badass chick own, man. I liked Wonder Woman. I liked it. When I watched it, Queen's Gambit, and maybe because my mindset's been all over this categorical stuff, as soon as I started watching it, I did some have you ever heard of Jordan Peterson? Love him. I was watching some debate on women in chess, and why there's not a lot of professional or master women chess players. Something that has to do with the IQ and analytical versus emotional, something like that. And then once I saw that and I went back to watching the show, I picked apart them pushing feminist propaganda. That's what I picked up.
That's interesting.
But I think that's because I had literally just finished watching Jordan Peterson talking about women in chess. And then I'm watching this and not everything. I like the show. I like the girl who plays that. I don't know her name off the top of my head. But I started seeing it. I think along with
I didn't know there was some people that were looking at it that way.
There are some people saying that. Now, with that being said, I don't mind like a badass chick, slaying a bunch of dudes. I don't. I just think in today's climate, I've been seeing a lot.
You know what, though? It is interesting that you say that, buddy, because I feel that we sometimes also unconsciously fall to call things something. And I mean, this is just my opinion and your opinion of the piece, but I specifically watch this type of shit with this bias in my head where I'm like, okay, where is it that you're gonna push the agenda? So that's why I personally, even though I was like that throughout the whole series, I was like, oh no, this felt all right. In comparison to, for example, if you, I didn't even watch it because I already knew how it was, but I just watched some scenes of like the Goosebumps movie with women, Ghostbusters. And like the whole thing is like, oh, he's the white dumb guy, and we're the chicks, and we're cool. And I think that one was a lot
like
more pushing to like, we're cool because we're chicks. While in the other one, it seemed like she was just a badass hero, and she just happened to be a woman. And of course, it does play into it that she has this lipstick and is contrasting with like the man. But I did feel that it didn't feel like it was pushing an agenda. But who knows? That's just my opinion on it. I didn't know.
Well, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be super pushy, super, like, every man we see is going to be a bad guy, every woman we see is going to be, like, a victim, empowered, and then I watched it, and I was like, this is, like, do I feel that it was, like, a very, I mean, it's a woman-led thing, but should every woman-led role should it be a feminist? I don't know. I don't. But I thought it was pretty cool. It didn't feel like super like I'm cool because I'm a girl. No, you're cool because you're smart as fuck,
what I mean
man.
is that
she's
she
like
went through
genius.
certain struggles that didn't have to really do with her being a girl. Like she's an orphan. I'm pretty sure many people can relate if you're an orphan. She's like an addict, right?
Yeah.
So you can relate to that. And she goes through these struggles that maybe not being, if she wasn't a woman, she would still go through those things. I mean, there was an added struggle, which is being a woman. But I love the fact that at the end, there was this respect where, like, when she won, they didn't try to make it look like the men were like, oh, fuck this woman. No, it was like, I don't care what sex you are, you beat me in this magical game, and you deserve our respect. So, like, that's but that's
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.